Howdy folks, hope you're having a good weekend, and welcome to the Good, the Bad and the Ugly Combined Ops Edition, featuring tragic moments of gameplay from both World of Tanks and World of Warships. We're starting off with a battle on the Fiery Salient map in the WZ-132 Tier 8 Chinese light tank. This is Wrigley 12, and he's about to have the kind of game that legends are made of. Well, not him specifically, but he's about to witness a legend in the making. It's the mouse on the enemy team. He's going to be talking about this game for quite some time. So, Fiery Salient, Tier 8 light tank, he's going to be camping bush. Although probably not the bush you're expecting. There is a very, very obvious spotting bush here on Fiery Salient, and Prokhorovka, obviously the map on which it's based. And it does kind of favour the team that starts in the spawn. He's not going for it though, because there's an equally good bush just here. There it is. Not that bush up there. This one here. That bush up there is where everybody expects the light tank to be, so that's not where he's sitting. Wrigley is going to be camping bush for quite some time. He is the most unfair of unfair planes. Is that meme still going, by the way? I was very proud of that meme. It actually made it onto Know Your Meme. You can look it up and everything. Ah, Schrader. That was one hell of a video. Anyway, I digress. So, Wrigley is camping bush. And before too long, the star of today's, well, not today's video, but the star of this particular segment of today's video is going to make his appearance. The mouse on the enemy team. Big fat XP pinata spotted. You may fire when ready. And there are quite a few tanks lining up to take shots at our Tier 10 German Super Heavy. They've got a Conway, they've got a T110E4, they've got a UDIS 3, there's a Lorraine back there for some strange reason. Whatever. It's quite a collection of firepower. And they're having absolutely no effect whatsoever. Unsurprisingly, the mouse just got hit by artillery. Surprisingly, it bounced off. Much to the consternation of the M53 player, who is going to be expending quite a lot of ammo to no great effect on that mouse for the rest of this game. A slightly easier target has just appeared to the rear, a T30, so getting a little frustrated. The collection of snipers at the northern end of the road here switch their fire to the T30, as does the artillery. Unfortunately for the T30, with that lot having nothing better to shoot at, he's dead very, very quickly. And with the T30 dead, that means it's the mouse's turn once again. There he is. Look at him. Come at me, bro. Give it your best shot. And they are giving it their best shots, but, well, their best shots don't really seem to be very good. I wonder if they can even see his lower glacis. He's in a bit of a depression in the ground there. I suppose it's possible that they can't, although I'm... Oh, and there's another artillery, 0 damage hit. That M53 player is going to be getting very, very salty before the end of this match. Well, anyway, this is going to be going on for quite some time, so while the mouse is doing this thing, we're going to take a look at something else. Time for a swift spot of World of Warships. This is Sad Panda in the German Tier 10 destroyer, the Z-52. He's on the Tiers of the Cruisers map, and this wasn't the kind of game that really stood on its own 2 feet as a standalone video, but there were a couple of moments in it which were absolutely priceless. There are 4 Tier 10 destroyers in this match. Sad Panda is joined by a Gearing on his team, and the enemy team also have a Z-52, but they also have the new Tier 10 Pan-Asian destroyer, the Yu Yang. Sad Panda said in the email that accompanied this replay that when he saw what the Yu Yang did at the beginning of this match, he strongly suspected that the player in charge of the ship had actually just free XP'd his way to Tier 10, and this was his first Tier 10 game. The implication, of course, being that the Yu Yang player hadn't actually played any of the other Pan-Asian destroyers, and when you see what he does, and when you see what the Yu Yang captain does, there's a reasonable chance you might just come to the same conclusion. So anyway, it happens quite early on at the start of this match. So Sad Panda is rushing A, and he's capping A. And so far he's capping it unopposed. No other enemy destroyers within this cap circle. First enemy detected, just at the limit of his firing range, but then a Minotaur pops up at a range of less than 10 kilometers, and you definitely do not want to be spotted in a destroyer with one of those things at that sort of range. And then, of course, he is spotted. It's not the Minotaur, it's that guy over there. There's the Yu Yang. So the first thing Sad Panda does is he deploys his smoke screen because he doesn't want to get volleyed to death by the Minotaur, and then he pops his hydro so he can still see the Yu Yang and starts unloading his guns into him. He's not detected. The Yu Yang has dropped his own smoke, but he's well inside the German hydro range. And Sad Panda is varying his position inside the smoke screen because the Minotaur could be blind firing at his muzzle flashes, and also his hydroacoustic search has spotted the Fletcher and the Fletcher's torpedoes. So there's no way the Fletcher's torpedoes are ever going to hit him. He's entirely safe. What is it about the Pan-Asian destroyers that makes them unique? It's their torpedoes. Pan-Asian destroyers get deep water torpedoes, and only deep water torpedoes. There they are. He's fired them into the smoke in an attempt to hit Sad Panda. Sad Panda, what are you doing? Why are you sailing towards those torpedoes? You can see them coming. Yeah, but they're deep water torpedoes. They won't hit destroyers. Deep water torpedoes are great. You can't spot them unless you're running hydro until they're right on top of you. But you can't hit destroyers with them. How can you possibly be sailing a tier 10 Pan-Asian destroyer and not know that? Free experience. Oh yeah. Yeah, suddenly it all makes sense. Anyway, how's our friend in the mouse doing? Doing quite well, actually. When last we left him, he hadn't taken any damage yet. Oh, his tracks had been blown off. No actual damage, of course. Oh wait, there it is. I don't know which of the tanks shooting at him was the first to actually cause damage. I suspect, although I've got no way of knowing, that it was probably the T-110E4. Fire and high explosive. I wonder how much gold has been fired at this mouse. I can't remember where I heard it, but I recently heard that Wargaming had claimed that only 5% of all ammunition fired in World of Tanks is actually gold ammo. Of course, that statistic includes tank battles fought at all tiers, tier 1 all the way up to tier 10. And there's a lot more ammunition fired at the lower tiers, particularly tier 2, where you start getting machines with 20 or 30mm autocannons, for example. If you have a look at worldoftanksreplays.com and you search by tier 2 games and you have a look at the machines that have those autocannons, they typically fire 100 rounds per match. And it's not premium because you're only playing at tier 2. So, well, while I've got no reason to suspect that the claim that only 5% of all ammunition fired in World of Tanks is untrue, and I've got no way of proving it either way, when you look at the breakdown of how much ammunition is actually fired at the various different tiers, this 5% figure is actually pretty meaningless if it's also including all of the standard armor piercing autocannon ammunition that's spammed around at tiers 2 and 3. I'd like to see, and I know they're never going to publish this figure, the percentage of gold ammunition fired not at tiers 1, 2 and 3 where people don't even know that gold ammo is a thing unless they're professional seal clubbers, but at tiers 8, 9 and 10 where it actually matters. They're never going to publish those figures, of course. But I'll guarantee you that at this stage of the game, all of those guys camping to the north, peppering this mouse, and there's another 0 damage artillery hit. The M53 is claiming that his shots are actually bouncing, although I am seeing the occasional detonation. I know his first shot bounced and did no damage, although, interestingly, it still stunned the mouse even though the shot ricocheted, which is interesting. But yeah, I'd love to know how much gold has been fired at this mouse. Then again, well, here's the thing. At the kind of ranges that those guys are shooting at this guy, you really want to be firing heat, because heat doesn't lose penetration with distance. The Conway doesn't fire heat. Fires Hesh, and Hesh is just it's not going to do a thing to the front of the mouse. It's just high explosive with high penetration, and it's not high enough to damage a mouse. So yeah, there are some high explosive impacts happening all over the front of that machine, and they're doing no damage whatsoever. What about the T110E4? What's his premium ammunition? Pretty sure it's APCR. Oh, hang on a second. Yeah, this guy needs to die. Everybody kill the LTTB, please, before he spots Wrigley, or at least force him to run away. There we go. Good stuff. And the mouse is still... Come at me, bro! Come on, you can do better than that. Actually, I'm not sure they can. Well, okay, we're going to leave him for the moment. Don't worry, this match does get slightly more interesting later. And we're going to come back to him after taking a look at something else. Back to World of Warships for some more comedy gold. This is Exhale, and I love this name by the way, Exhale and Squeeze. Well, that's not him, that's King John in the Benson. Exhale and Squeeze is in a Bismarck, and he's already died. There are only 2 ships left alive on his team, this Benson and an Alabama. The replay's a little jerky, but there's nothing I can do about that. It's going to get better, but it's just an artifact of the replay system. At this point in the match, they're behind on kills, and they're behind on points, but they do hold 2 of the capture points to the enemy's 1. However, I'm not entirely sure there's quite enough time left for them to be able to turn those capture points into enough points to win before the match ends. And so King John here is going to take an awful risk. The enemy team are 100 points ahead. Now, he can change that and give them a commanding lead if he can sink that Bismarck. But it's going to be an awful risk, because at that kind of range the Bismarck's secondaries can absolutely shred him. His torpedoes are away, he pops his smoke screen, but he's so close the Bismarck is still going to see him. He has to kill the Bismarck to go undetected. The Bismarck, realising he's about to die, launches his spotter plane in an effort to keep King John spotted, but I think he's gotten away with it. It very, very nearly killed him, but he's managed to flip the points around, and they now have the points advantage and the capture advantage. So all they have to do now is stay alive, and they've won this game. So now we switch to the perspective of R.G. Jonder. I'm almost certainly mispronouncing his name, but hey, I had a go. He's in the Alabama, American Tier 8 premium battleship, and he's exchanging fire while reversing away from Ghost Bear over there in the other enemy Bismarck. And Ghost Bear's been having a good game. He just got himself the High Caliber Award. Now, they're both Tier 8 battleships. They both have 32mm of bow plating. The Alabama has 16-inch guns. The Bismarck has 15-inch guns. Neither of them can overmatch each other's bow armour. So as long as they're bow tanking each other like this, they can't do an awful lot of damage to each other. At the moment, it's a bit of a Mexican standoff. Neither of them can really do a lot of damage to each other. But the closer the Bismarck gets to the Alabama, the more the odds are likely to shift in his favour. For a couple of reasons. First, the Bismarck's secondaries are extremely powerful. And secondly, the Bismarck has turtleback armour, which is more effective the closer you are to the ship shooting at you. Now, you might be wondering what's become of the enemy destroyer. It's a Cien Yang, played by Mariano 849, and he's just found himself King John in the Benson. Well, actually, it's worse than that. He's just killed King John in the Benson. Well played, Mariano 849 in the Cien Yang. That was his 3rd kill. He's had a very, very good game. Of course, that kill has changed things drastically. The enemy team are now ahead on points, but they don't have enough of a points lead to be able to win on points alone. The Alabama still has 2 capture points under his control. So the Cien Yang is going to busy himself capping out one of those capture points, and the Bismarck is going to ram, because that is definitely going to settle the outcome of this match. Ghost Bear in the Bismarck knows it doesn't matter if he lives or dies. They have 2 ships, the enemy team have 1. Take out the last enemy ship and you win, so he's going for the ram. And R.G. Jonder can see it coming. Holy shit, how close was that? Now the Cien Yang is capping, so he can't do anything to help here, and Ghost Bear was so sure he was going to pull that ram off. His guns are pointing the wrong way. R.G. Jonder's guns aren't, however. He just has to bring the ship around. Now remember, you're unlikely to see any citadels here because the Bismarck does have turtleback armour, and at this kind of range it's virtually impossible to score a citadel. but you can still do a lot of damage with armour-piercing penetrations fired into the middle of the ship above the belt armour and into the bow and the stern, where the armour plating can easily be penetrated by American 16-inch armour piercing. The Xian Yang is right now rushing for one of those cap points in an attempt to take it and reduce the number of points that this Alabama has coming in. But with the Bismarck on such low health, a kill on the Bismarck will also give the Alabama the points that he needs to win this match. But the Bismarck fluffed a couple of critical shots that could have scored citadels and finished off RG Jonda, and it's RG Jonda who scores the final shot that kills the Bismarck and puts his team over 1,000 points, and that's one hell of a way to win a game of World of Warships. Yep, still going strong. You know, spoiler alert, that mouse takes 68 hits during the course of this game and only suffers 7 penetrations. Wait until you see how much damage he blocked. Anyway, Wrigley's decided, screw this, I'm out, this shit's starting to get boring, plus they're being capped, so his services are required on the other side of the field. I did tell you this game was going to get a bit more interesting, and here it is. Okay, he's going to have to deal, or have his team deal with that IS-3. Oh, there we go. One shot kill. Guns pointing the other way. Boom! No damage. Oh, bollocks. He's always got his gun around. Thank you, T-44. Right, let's get into the cap circle. The enemy team are about to win. Ferdinand spotted. Somebody reset the Ferdinand. Thank you. Bat chat. Oh, crap. Bat chat and a T-69. Double crap. Ferdinand needs to die. Engine's damaged. Okay, Ferdinand dead. And into cover around the side of the farmhouse. Okay, we're not going to die immediately. The cap has been reset. Although they still have a lot of capture points. But now with Wrigley inside the cap circle, it's a stalemate. Now they just need to kill the enemy tanks inside the cap circle, and the Bat Chat's looking like a one-shot kill, but the T-69 still has a fair amount of health. There they are, there they are. Ooh, didn't quite kill the T-69, not sure why he didn't take the shot at the Bat Chat. But salvation has arrived, just the T-69 left, one-shot kill, and 0 damage. And once again, saved by his teammates, even if he was let down by his gun. Just 2 enemy machines remaining. Unsurprisingly, the mouse is still not dead, and the FV-207 enemy artillery. And well, you know where he's going to be. Other side of the railway tracks in the bushes at the back. Yeah, there he is. Oh, his gun's pointing this way. Back off, back off, back off, back off. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's quite cheeky. Hey! And it comes as a surprise to absolutely nobody that the mouse is the last tank standing on his team, and it's only now that he's outflanked and surrounded that anybody's actually able to do any meaningful amounts of damage to him. Now, because I love a good cliffhanger, I'm not actually going to show you the post-battle results screen until the end of the video. Let's see if anybody can guess how much damage that mouse blocked. Of course, you could, just skip to the end of the video and spoil it, because this is YouTube and you can do that. Anyway, on with the show. Oh, it's Sad Panda and the Z-52 again. Is he not done? Well, no. There is more from this particular battle. Above and beyond the Tier 10 Pan-Asian destroyer captain who didn't understand unbelievably what deep water torpedoes were, we've also got this little moment from the enemy Z-52, who has done a huge amount of damage to that Tier 10 German battleship, the Grosse Kurfürst. But he's not the one who's going to get the kill, and he is in the very unfortunate position of being spotted at point-blank range and unable to bring all of his guns to bear, because Sad Panda just knocked out his rear gun turret. The other 2 turrets are at the wrong end of the ship, and unable to fire. His engine is knocked out. He's desperately trying... Oh, there's the Amagi who actually got the kill on the Grosse Kurfürst, by the way. We'll be seeing more of him in a moment. There's no way that Z-52 should have lost this fight. He started the fight with double, possibly 3 times the amount of health that Sad Panda had, but he tried to run away with a crippled engine and no rear gun turret while being detected by sonar, and so Sad Panda just, well, took him apart piece by piece. Anyway, back to this Amagi. There he is. He's the guy that secured the kill on the Grosse Kurfürst, and the Amagi is a very, very good battleship, and because we know that this is the guy that got the kill on the Grosse Kurfürst right there, we know that he has been following events as they transpired around the corner of this island, and knows there's a Tier 10 German destroyer around here. The only possible reasonable explanation I can come up with to explain what you're about to see is that whoever was playing that Amagi and got the kill on the Grosser Curve first suddenly had to go to the toilet and turned around to his little 12-year-old sister and said, just take care of the controls for a minute. Don't do anything stupid and I'll be back. Either that or it's sail battleships around corners at point-blank range into Tier 10 German destroyers day. I suppose it's possible. But if it is, nobody told me about it. Not that I have any Tier 10 German destroyers, but I do have a few battleships. Damn it, I want to take part too. Apparently it's not just sail your battleships around point-blank range corners into German destroyers day, it's also sail your battleships around corners at point-blank range into much bigger battleships day. This is WoW Mark 47, and I know I've seen him before. I suspect this isn't the first of his replays that I've watched. He is sailing Sorry, but I am contractually obliged to play that clip whenever I show you a Yamato. And yes, I know that was the Akizuki, but it winds up the weebs, and that's a good enough reason for me to include it. Anyway, what's happening here? WoW Mark 47 is sailing his mighty Yamato and holding one flank of the map virtually alone. There's only one other ship on his team that's in a position to offer any kind of support fire. That's another battleship, and he's several miles away. And he's facing off against nearly every battleship on the enemy team, as well as a cruiser or two. Now I want to make it absolutely clear that they know he's here. I mean, they're shooting at him. He's detected by aircraft. Right now the closest enemy ship that we're aware of is that Frederick the Great, the German Tier 9 battleship. And he's nobody's fool. He's not going to sail his battleship around the corner of this island with a dirty great big Yamato sitting there just waiting to om nom 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 on his citadel. So right now that Frederick the Great captain is looking at this situation and he's thinking, nope, sorry. You must think I was born yesterday, sunshine. I know a trap when I see one. Screw you guys, I'm going somewhere else. So well done to the Frederick the Great for not falling for an obvious come and get me like that. Now, WoW Mark 47's problem right now is that he can't actually shoot anything when he's this close to the island. Unfortunately, that Hindenburg back there, he can lob shells over the island, although he'd miss with that salvo, and hit WoW Mark 47's superstructure, and that damage is adding up over time. Because that rock promontory there, marking the corner of the island, is blocking WoW Mark 47's 18-inch guns from firing, so he needs to sail back to get some distance so he can actually fire over it. Unfortunately, well, it's a good news, bad news situation. He's now not being detected, but, well, he can't see any of the enemy ships around the corner either. So, in an effort to see what's coming, he launches his catapult fighter. Now, it's not going to last very long. It's going to get shot down, but now he's able to see what's coming around the corner. Remember, all of those guys know that there was a Yamato around the corner of this island. The Yamato has guns that can punch clean through the bow armour of any battleship in the game, regardless of angle. It can certainly handle the side armour of a Missouri. Only the one citadel. Plenty more where that one came from. You see? Sail battleships around corners in front of the guns of much, much bigger battleships today. I've got a Missouri. I'm not particularly good in it. Oh, look, he's dead. Yes, well, nobody was surprised by that one. That was fairly inevitable. And yet, that Missouri probably made a profit out of this game. Like I said, I earned the Missouri relatively recently. Yesterday I had a pretty bad game and it only did 77,000 damage, and yet I still earned 750,000 credits. Let's just say it's not the kind of ship that's designed to encourage good habits when you can play as badly as that and still make a profit. Anyway, moving on swiftly. Circumflexer sent me a couple of World of Tanks replays the other day. One of them was his legendary AT-15A match, which everybody's talking about and which I will be doing a video on at some point. But he also sent this little game in. Now, it's not about him. He was in the FV4202, he died ages ago. At this point there are only 2 tanks left alive, 1 on each team. There's this AMX 1390, and there's an Object 140 on the enemy team. And that Object 140 already has a top gun. He knows what he's doing. The AMX 1390 is not a bad player either. I mean, he's got a few kills under his belt, he's had a good game. But he's in a tough situation here. 1v1 against an Object 140, and the Object 140 is a good tank, and it's being driven by a good player. And the AMX 1390 is a one-shot kill. So let's go through the thought process of this AMX 1390 player. What do you do? How do you win this game? It's 1v1. You can't really go for a cap, because an Object 140 is entirely capable of making it from one end of the map to the other. Even a best possible scenario where you make it into the cap just a couple of seconds before the Object 140 makes it into yours, he can still make it all the way back over and kill you and reset and win before you're going to cap out. And here on the Pilsen map, the cap circles are exposed. They're wide open. There's nowhere to hide in them. So that's never going to be a winning proposal. So instead, what he's doing is he's waiting. He's waiting for the Object 140, who has already started to cap. He's waiting for him to almost reach 100% cap, and then he's going to pop out and reset him. Hopefully kill him, and hopefully win the match. But he's made one very, very critical miscalculation. Who can see what it is? I'll give you some time to think about it. Remember, he has to kill that Object 140. Just resetting the cap isn't going to be enough. That's just going to be a draw. So he has to hope that the 140 is facing the other way to allow him to get a couple of shots off from this 90mm autoloader. No sign of him. He must be around the corner. He's not around the corner. Where is he? There are barely seconds left. He can't be hiding behind the crates. You would have seen him by now. Shoots the crates. Oh my god, Invisible Object 140, hacks reported. Well, no, you're just shooting into the wrong cap circle, mate. That's he's in your cap circle. That's the one at the other end of the map. Just goes to prove that even the best players can suffer from the occasional sudden rush of shit to the brain. So how about that mouse? Well, before we show you how much damage he actually blocked with his armour, and the number is, quite frankly, staggering, we're going to take a look at the people shooting at him and see how well they did. Well, first we have the M53 artillery, who fired 13 shots, most of them at the mouse, and only did 322 damage, bless him. He did only have the stock gun, but, you know, still. Next, the T110E4, who did manage to do 3,666 damage, but remember, he has a 750 alpha damage gun, and he fired 17 shots, and got 16 hits, and only managed to do 3,666 damage. We're going to give this guy a pass because he only had the 90mm gun. He hit the target 19 times but only penetrated 8 times, which isn't too bad for the 90mm gun, which only has 210mm of penetration. 1,987 damage done. The Lorraine has no such excuse. He's a fast medium tank, he should never have been up there in the first place, and he has a better gun than the UDES 3. 22 shots, 21 hits, 4 penetrations for 681 damage. And last but not least, the Conway. 24 shots, 23 hits, 5 penetrations. You know, you'd like to think that at some point, after hitting the same target from the same angle and not doing any damage 20 or 30 times, you might consider trying something else. Although that apparently never occurred to any of these guys. Anyway, how about our hero in the mouse? How much damage did he block with his armour? You ready? Drum roll. 17,750. That has to be a record. If anybody can beat that, I'll eat my own arse. I mean, just... Nubsaws in the mouse. And they say armour is meaningless at tier 10. 17, nearly 18,000? Really? Seriously, guys, shoot something else. It's not working. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you to everybody who sent these clips in, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.